Padres trade rumors are escalating. We got to talk about what MLB insider Jim Bowden from The Athletic has to say about Sandy Alcantara joining the Friars or being a fix for the Friars long term, what the deal he proposes is, and then I want to kind of take all of your temperatures on where you maybe feel just in general about some of our starters. Welcome back, everybody. Christian Pedersen here with another episode of Padres Digest. Thank you very much for tuning in. This is the part of the show where I do the stereotypical YouTube thing of saying, could you please hit the subscribe button? It would be much appreciated. If not, no worries. Let's go to talking about some baseball. I want to talk about Sandy Alcantara. He is a Miami Marlin. He is somebody that is a big name, was a big name, could still be a big name, is a big name. I kind of go back and forth. Right now, actually, this is where Sandy Alcantara is production-wise for the Miami Marlins. So ultimately, for what the Marlins are paying him, which is $56 million left on his contract, he is not providing value for a team that is trying to build up for the future and improve in larger swaths than just needing a piece or two to be in a championship run. Not to dismiss any MLB team. Anyone can get hot. Anyone can go on a run. But like, this guy is not leading the Marlins the way he did in seasons previous when he has been in contention for Cy Young awards multiple times. Like, dude has been a very good pitcher. So we've got guys like Jim Bowden from The Athletic writing that a couple of different franchises out there could be a perfect spot for the Padres or for Alcantara to land, because he is still under a couple years of team control and maybe a change of scenery and some new offense and situationship. And not that he's Paul Skeens with he's never allowing runs, and yet he's still, he has some bad games, but he's potentially still got a couple years of net positive pitching in him for the value that he can get back to the Marlins can be potentially greater than holding on to Alcantara. The contract here, you can take a look at. This is what is left. This is the last couple of years and then what is left. Obviously, we're in that 2025 campaign, his age 29 season. So he'll be 30 and 31 the 2 other years, but you've got him for 2 other years. And that's where Jim Bowden jumps in and says, Padres should do this because both Michael King and Dylan Cease are going to be free agents next year. And while you may plan on or account for signing one of those, it is unlikely that the Padres will be able to or want to invest in the kind of way that would mean retaining both of those guys. They're both talented pitchers. They both want big money, and it's unlikely. This more according to Bowden, but also, I don't disbelieve that it is unlikely. We don't have Peter Seidler. We don't have a track record. There's been public commentary of them saying, hey, we want to lower the payroll a little bit. So, sure, okay, let's hypothetically go with that. We're going to hold on to one of those two, and then he says that that's where trading, and the trade that he throws out is Leo DeVries, Ethan Salas, plus question mark for just Alcantara. Now, I think there's other trades in there I would like to see some hitting return at like the Kyle Stowers short-term rental guy, major league level, but neither here nor there. Let's talk about the Bowden one specifically. He says that dumping those 2 guys for 2 more years of a fix right now for Sandy coming in and being a dude who hypothetically just being around Ruben Niebla gets fixed, and that you go a notch down on the ERA, a notch up on the win record here for the rest of the season. In net aggregate, you add to your pitching rotation. And we've got stuff on Yu Darvish and Michael King and all their health issues. You can check that out. That's why I say hit subscribe. But that you get this and then 2 more years at a price that is going to maybe fit potentially with, you can also have Cease or King still. And that Cease or King plus Alcantara plus Pivetta plus Musgrove returning. That actually, okay, I'm a little bit curious. I think that Salas and Leo DeVries, and we have videos on both those guys, but the 30,000-foot summary is that Salas is a fantastic young catcher who had a little bit of back issue-y stuff that's not major, but has not been like there. I can't show you a ton of numbers this year that he's produced because he has been sidelined for a chunk of it, but is young, is good. We've seen him in Major League Spring Training. He will project out nicely. He is not everybody is interested in this kind of a player. Leo DeVries, our shortstop, young guy, teenager, international #1 prospect, has all of the potential in the world, has had a couple of like spans where it hits the cycle and then a home run and then a double all in consecutive game. Like, flashes of it are there. He's hitting 250 right as of us recording this, but is a legitimate, for being a teenager, great prospect. So it is the 1-2 out of the top of our order. It's the only organization. It's the only 2 real assets that the Padres have in exchange for this. What do you guys think? Drop a comment on that in the chat. Let me know. But then going to part 2 of what he says in this article, where he talks about King and Cease both being a one or the other kind of situation, that got me thinking, what do you guys think as well? Because we're at a point right now where Michael King has talked about he's feeling or better, can hold a baseball, but he doesn't know. We have no idea. It is not negative. They're not saying surgery. They're just saying it's a little nervy kind of thing that can slow you down and you don't want to throw it. They're giving very, very vague updates. But if we're just taking it at the here and now of where they're at in their season, this is Michael King. And the question may be, if he is, worst case scenario, if he is frozen at this number because he is sidelined with a shoulder issue that just plagues him for the season and ends up being the end of his year, is he worth? What is he worth? I've mentioned this on some of the previous podcasts here in San Diego, the comp for Drew Brees. I know it's a different sport, but karma-wise, we already did this once where we passed on a guy with a shoulder issue to end a season who still went on to be a superstar, long-term Hall of Famer. Not that Michael King's going to go on to get 300 wins on the mound, but he's a really good pitcher, could be great pitcher, could be just tweak something this year, needs to sit it out. He'll be back next year and just be right where he picked up. But do you pay him? Or do you go over and say, no, just give me at that point Dylan Cease, because up or down, ride or die. Like, we know what his high end is. Here's the numbers right now for Cease. Obviously, he's pitched a little bit more than King, but he's not having a consistently great year. He's had a couple of great starts where the Padres have not delivered a ton of run support, but is someone in that kind of like Alcantara numbers of, if I put these two next to each other, just, numbers of guys where you go, oh man, I know they've got higher ends, but are they headed past that? Are they going away from it? Or are they just they need to get dialed in and their head right and get on a run, and once you get them to the postseason, they've still kind of got it, guys? Because I'm willing to believe that. I'm willing to say that baseball is a long season, and I can be talked into right now, Padres 5-ish, somewhere between 5 and 7 back, depending on when you're watching this, but in control of second place in the NL West. Granted, we've lost to the Dodgers that first series pretty badly, but by all accounts, we're in it this season. And that is with all the turmoil that we have had. So say we add him, Sandy Alcantara, for 2 assets that are in the minor leagues. Yes, they have huge upside potentially, but realistically, Tatis, Machado, Cronenworth, Bogaerts, Merrill, like, a lot of our lineup is already locked in place. So unless you're talking about LDV coming up and being our left fielder or our first baseman, and maybe cool, just like the way we pivoted Tatis, we pivot LDV, and there is a whole argument to be made there. But I think that you could say, like, 2 guys that don't, Salas, maybe he is only a defensive, maybe if he's a defensive catcher that can't ever hit, do we need to hold on to him? No, we can find other defensive catchers that don't hit. So I can be talked into that. LDV is a more generational-ish type of talent. But if it adds a guy right now who can get right by coming over here, pitch great the back end of the season, and then, like you said, Cease has it in the postseason. He's there for the big games for us. He can lock it down. Maybe Darvish comes back. I can be talked into if the Padres can win that World Series right now, maybe this is all worth it. I don't know if Alcantara is the piece, but if you're trading all minor league assets for him, he could be a piece. So let me know what you think in the comment section. And like I said, if you could hit the subscribe button, it would be much appreciated. Until next time, we'll talk to you guys soon.